Hey, what's going on, people? So I want to tell a little story about myself, and I may lose some subscribers. I don't know. I don't know the racial demographics of this channel, but I know the age demographics. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna talk about some black on black crime, and just a little disclaimer: everything that happened to me, because this may be a long video. It may be multiple parts to it, but everything that happened to me, I'm over with. I have grown from it, and I want to tell you the things I did and what happened to me. So let me first start out by saying this: before Whack 100, if I ever become famous, I'm not a rapper, I'm not a gangster, but if I was ever famous, I want to just beat Whack 100 and 1090 Jake to the punch, where they put out my paperwork. Because if you didn't know, and I'm not lying to you, this is just a story, something that happened to me. I have paperwork. That's right. I took the stand before. I read it. I told, you know, I did it. I went to the police. I snitched. I snitched nine. I told the authorities. And would I do it again? No. But I want to tell you my story of what happened to me and why I took the stand and why I wouldn't do it again. So this basically kills any potential of me ever being a rapper, because I got paperwork. And I just, Whack doesn't have to put out my paperwork. Doesn't have to blackmail me, because I'll just tell you the story. Because I'm building an audience, people are watching. And this is kind of like an advice. This is advice for anybody living in a pretty poor neighborhood, and you may not be financially, like strong. You may not have money, and this is why I don't recommend people going to the police. So let me just start off by saying this happened on December 31st, 2019, and I want to just tell you that I was a very horrible person back then. I'm not the person that I am now. I was not the person that I am now. Everything I hate in people at the jobs I work, I was sort of that person. I don't want to say I was a bully, but I gossiped at work sometimes. I'm just going to be honest. I don't do it now because, like I said, it didn't feel good when people talked about me, but I learned, don't do that to other people. Don't do what you don't want happen to you to others. But I wasn't a really good person. I really had a tendency to make jokes, gossip about people sometimes. I wasn't really a good dude. I made a lot of inappropriate jokes at work, and I didn't understand the concept of working. You're there to make money. You're not there to be everybody's friend. You're not there, because I washed dishes at this one restaurant, and the guy, it was a guy I would talk to. I would just literally talk shit about the expo dude who was like bringing the orders in. I would just shit talk him the whole shift, and they knew about it, but but if they didn't say nothing to me about it, they didn't confront me, I would just continue on and on and on. So I want to just say, anything you do to others, whether it be verbal, whether it be physical, it's always a consequence to the things you do. So there was a worker who, let's just say the person that I told on. So, and I got 30 minutes till I go back inside, so I may have to do different parts, because I may not be able to tell you the whole entire story and the conclusion to everything all in one video. But there was a person who, well, first, it was this drunk Hispanic dude who was also washing dishes with me. He got fired because he came to work drunk. He came to work drunk on around like July. They fired him and they replaced him with a black guy this time. It was a black dude who, like I said, the one I told on. So the black guy was like, I'll say he was more hood, more street than me. I'm not from the streets. I'm not from the hood. Or let me say this. I don't I don't identify with the hood, but I did live in like a low income area. Like, well, they weren't always low income. It wasn't always like a bad area. Both neighborhoods that I grew up in were good. My parents did what they could to raise me in a pretty nice area, but over time, you know, the neighborhood just changed from just property value going down. But I was never the product of like living in the ghetto, living in the projects, you know, surviving in the streets. That was never really my story. It never was. But one thing I'll admit, you can convince any white person, no matter if you're half black, me being the complexion I am, I have a better chance of convincing any white person from the suburbs that I come from the streets. I'm a gangster. I'm a ex-drug dealer. If you want to put fear in whites who you may feel threatened against, that's one advantage you have of being dark skinned. But other blacks people can pick that up. You know, the whole saying real recognize real. So this guy was like a real like, I don't want to call him a criminal, but he had, you know, recently got out of prison, I think like the year before, or maybe a few years before that. And he didn't really see nothing in life other than getting high, you know, working where we did and just getting through life high and maybe drinking sometimes. He just got through life that way. Me, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, but this dude, you know, looking back, see, I'm 29 now. I'm only talking about this because they hired 2 new people, and I'm very selective of the black people that I talk to. See, I make videos talking about white people. I talk about the things you should look out for, but I won't ignore the problems in our community. I'm very selective of the black men I deal with because I'm older now. I'm about stacking money up, and you know, black people, let's just call it what it is. We will attack and do the most dirt to each other before you do it to a racist or a cop or a white supremacist. They live longer than the blacks who may do something to you that's so minuscule, but we can march in the street about racism and police brutality. But these cops and these racists, they seem to live a long life. Like the detective in the O.J. Simpson case, I can't remember his name. He's still alive. Darren Wilson is still alive. Michael Slager is still alive in prison. Derek Chauvin, he got stabbed, but he's still alive, and a Hispanic did that. But you know, he was from the streets, and at the time, I was really confused because we're not really genuinely accepted by other races. You just tell yourself, like, you know, like, regardless of if you like a person or not, that's your people. Like, he could be like he could be in the hood, he could be a next con, be a gang member. He's still black, and I think that's dumb. I don't try to judge anybody, but I'm cautious of like certain traits in a person. Like, if I'm working with somebody, right, and they tell me they were in a gang, or they used to sell drugs, I just feel like it takes a special kind of, I don't want to say like sociopath is not the right word, but you have to have a certain type of character to sell drugs to somebody, knowing you're selling them poison and you're contributing to their death. That doesn't take that, like someone like myself, I couldn't do that. You have to have a really shitty character to do something like that. That's just my opinion. But I wouldn't associate with just anybody now. I wouldn't. But yeah, he was the opposite of me. And it wasn't like a lot of black people there, so that's why I just clung on. I just talked to him. And see, now it's like it's mixed now with the job. Like at the job I'm at now, there are four, it's like five blacks, including myself. More, it's a little more than that. But it's like this. I know they're not my kind of people. The older, it's really, I will really talk to more like older black men because, like I said, they had fathers in their life, and they don't possess that feminine energy where you gotta, get the last word. You want to fight somebody after work. I mean, men don't do that for the most part. But anyway, I want to jump to you where we had the altercation because we had a falling out. Unsurprisingly, I'm hanging with somebody that just got out of prison years ago. He wasn't really short tempered until I said something he didn't particularly care for. And this is why I'm amazed how much I changed as a person. But one day at work, it was a younger dude who worked there, and I was kind of being Bill Cosby. I was just telling him the road you're going on, you're gonna go to jail, you're gonna get locked up, you know, you're gonna, like, he was talking about smoking weed and all this stuff. And I was telling him, because we got into a lot of loud arguments at work. We got into a lot of loud like debates at work, and that's what I enjoyed doing at work. Like I said, I was young and stupid. I didn't understand the concept of work. But we got into a loud debate, a loud like altercation. Everybody heard it. And I was telling him, I was like, real men don't smoke weed. You don't sell drugs. You know, you don't do none of that bullshit. And the guy, the guy heard me. The guy heard me, and he like when I said that, he stopped. We weren't like cool anymore. So that was when me and him, we had a real, like, we had a falling out, but we didn't like say it verbally. His actions showed he didn't want to deal with me anymore because he smoked weed. He used to deal drugs and all that stuff. And I'm gonna just tell you this right now. I don't really